Hello learners, good day. Welcome to SDO TV. It's me again, Sir Josh, your teacher companion in your adventure to the exciting world of English. This is the fifth lesson in English 10 for quarter 3, critiquing a literary selection based on Marxist theory. At the end of the video lesson, I'm sure you will be able to understand Marxist literary theory, read a piece of literature with comprehension, examine and critique a piece of literature to see how it reveals class conflict and the difference between economic groups under Marxist theory. In your previous lessons, you have learned to compose an independent critique of your chosen selection, and also you have written a movement critique. So what adventure do we have for today? Oh, our adventure for today is about literary criticism. Exciting, right? Come on, join me as I enter the exciting world of English. Today, we will learn more about critiquing a literary selection. But how will we do it? Mr. Dictionary, our learners here want to know what literary criticism is.
Literary criticism is the evaluation of literary works. It asks what literature is, what it does, and what it's worth. Literary criticism helps readers like you and me to interpret the literature we read. Its structure, its context, whether it is social, economic, or historical. How the text manipulates the reader. In short, literary criticism helps us to understand the relationship between authors, readers, and the text.
Thank you, Mr. Dictionary. Hey learners, look at this picture. What have you noticed? What ideas come to your mind as you see this? Inequality? Social classes? Abuse of power? Very good. This picture is related to our lesson for today. One of the approaches of literary criticism is the Marxist literary theory. Marxist criticism is based on the writings of German philosopher Karl Marx. In its simplest form, Marxist criticism attempts to show the relationship between literature and the text. It is an expression of contemporary class struggle. Class struggle originates out of the exploitation of one class by another. According to Marxist literary theory, society progresses through the struggle between opposing forces, the capitalists or the bourgeois. They are the haves or the oppressors, the workers or the proletariat. They are the have-nots or the oppressed. This applies to the economic and social theories by analyzing class conflict and the difference between economic groups. Who are the powerful people in the text? Who are the powerless? Why do the powerful have power? Why are the powerless without power? Do the powerful in the text suppress the powerless? What does the society value? These questions should be asked when analyzing a text using Marxist literary theory. Remember, Karl Marx theorized that economic structure is the main driving force between all the social conditions in the text. It reflects class struggle and materialism. Furthermore, human beings are the product of their social and economic environment. Learners, let us now analyze a text using Marxist theory. What is this? Very good. Lottery. Who among you like to win in a lottery? Or in a raffle promo, perhaps? I am sure all of you want to see your name on that slip to win the prize. What do you think, learners? Great! Let us find out why or why not. Are you excited to analyze the story using Marxist literary theory? In our story for today, if the character sees his or her name on the slip, will he or she feel the same as we do? Great! Now, I want you to ask these questions as you listen to the short story. What is the protagonist's social base on wealth? Is he in the upper, middle, or lower class? What social class does the author seem to represent or empathize with? How do the different social classes interact or conflict? Are you ready to listen? Great! The Lottery by Shirley Jackson.
On a clear morning, June 27, the townspeople in a small town with a population of approximately 300 people, starting with children, begin to assemble for the lottery to begin at 10 in the morning. It will conclude in the time for lunch. While the girls chat to one side, the boys, including Bobby Martin, Harry Jones, and Dickie Delacroix, begin to packet stones. Shortly thereafter, the men and women begin to gather, chatting among themselves before standing together as family. The lottery is conducted by Mr. Summers, who has no children and whose wife is unpleasant. He is assisted by Mr. Graves, who follows him to bring the stool upon which Mr. Summers places a very worn-out black box. The black box used for the lottery is even older than the town citizen, Old Man Warner. Mr. Summers steers the slips of paper inside the black box. Originally, chips of wood were used, but as the town's population increased, Mr. Summers was forced to switch in paper in order to fit all the slips inside the box. Before commencing the lottery, several lists had to be made. Heads of the households, heads of the families, and members of each family. Mr. Summers efficiently tends to all the details and prepares to start the lottery. Mrs. Tess Hutchinson is nearly late, but she arrives just in time to join her family in the crowd. She stands next to her husband, Bill, and their children. Mr. Summers makes sure that everyone who needs to be at the lottery is present and accounts for those who are unable to attend. Then, the lottery begins. Mr. Summers begins to call the names of each family alphabetically, and each of the household, usually the husband and father, comes forward to take a slip of paper from the black box. As this happens, Mr. Adams mentions to Old Man Warner that a nearby village is planning to give up the lottery. Old Man Warner expresses the reason for this suggestion, calling those people a pack of young fools. Once all the heads of the household receive slips, they simultaneously check them. Bill Hutchinson has selected the special slip and his family is singled out. Tess Hutchinson expresses her discontent and accuses Mr. Summers of not giving her husband enough time to select his slip. Nonetheless, Mr. Summers rearranges the box so that it holds only 5 slips for the Hutchinsons family. The family comes forth and each of them, Mr. and Mrs. Hutchinson and their 3 children, select one of the 5 slips in the box. One by one, the children and Mr. Hutchinson reveal that their slips of paper are blank. The town realizes that Tess holds the remaining slip of paper with a black dot. The villagers start to collect stones. Mrs. Delacroix selecting one that is so large she can hardly carry it. As Tess Hutchinson protests, everyone, even her husband and children, descend upon her and stone her to death.
Thank you for listening carefully. Now let us answer these questions. What social class does the author seem to represent or empathize with? Upper class, middle class, or lower class? If your answer is lower class, you are correct. What emotions have you felt at the end of the story? Did you feel delighted, excited, or sad? If you felt sad, then you have empathized with the character as well. Great! Let us now answer this question in order for us to analyze literary text. What is the protagonist's social base on wealth? Is he in the upper, middle, or lower class? Tessie Hutchinson is the protagonist in the story. If your answer is lower class, you are correct. Who is in the upper class, the superior, and the powerful person in the text? Mr. Summers, Hutchinson's, Mr. Martin? Very good, Mr. Summers. Because Mr. Summers runs the main industry, which is the coal business, and the main employer of the town. Do the powerful in the text suppress the powerless? The rich class has power over the working class in the story. Those people in the lower class fear to lose their jobs. They are deprived of their means to social change. Who benefits from the tradition and who suffers? Is it the people in the upper class, middle class, or in the lower class? If your opinion is the upper class benefits and the lower class suffers, well, you have a point. Emphasizing the story, Mr. Summers runs all the civic activities, while those who are in the lower class are given no means to rebel. Though not overtly stated, all the people fear from the actions of the villagers that they fear the lottery. Great! How does the lower class try to move up their system? Mrs. Hutchinson is the main character of the story. Remember when she arrived late in the lottery? That moment reveals that she is against the lottery. But in the story, most people in the lower class don't want to take any risk of losing jobs, so they chose not to stop the tradition. No one stood up and said that the lottery was wrong and should not be used anymore. How does the upper class try to keep their position? Clearly stated in the story, those people in the upper class take an advantage to the weakness of the working class by letting them realize that when they oppose the wealthy leader class, they will starve to death. Very good, English learners. At this moment, I am sure that it is clear to you the status between the social classes in the society. The wealthy class, or the upper class, and the working class, or the lower class. In order for you to analyze the text using Marxist theory, try to answer these questions.
What does the society in the text value? The society's value is based on labor. The working class value their jobs in order for them to live. Thus, they follow the tradition, though they risk one life for every lottery tradition. Government in the story was corrupted by upper-class capitalists. How do the different social classes interact or conflict? The story emphasized the idea that support is given to the elite group and placed the working class at the disadvantage. What does the story say about oppression? The lottery is about the persecution of individuals at random. The victim is guilty of no transgression other than having drawn the wrong slip of paper in the box. The tradition that ends with someone innocent dying every year. Those who in the upper class abuse their power over those who are in the working class. Why do you think the powerful have power? Why are the powerless without power? People feel useless in life when they aren't in charge over something or a group of people. To compensate this, they take care control by force to fulfill their need for power. They prefer more power, expecting higher outcomes when they are more powerful.
Very good, English learners! You have critiqued a literary selection based on the Marxist theory. Again, what is Marxist literary theory? Marxist literary theory analyzes text specifically in terms of conflict between socio-economic societies. The focus is to analyze how the competition between different classes inspires a given work. In the story of Shirley Jackson, The Lottery is one of the best literary selections under Marxism. I am going to give you a take-home activity. Write a paragraph about a book, story, or play that you have read from the perspective of Marxist literary theory. Be guided with the thought: why do the powerful have power? Why are the powerless without power? That was really an unforgettable learning and exciting adventure with you, learners. Now, you know how to analyze a text using a literary theory. Not only that, we also have discussed an interesting short story written by Shirley Jackson. Not all lottery readers are happy. I am so thankful to have done all this with you. You're really amazing. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot today. Once again, I'm Sir Josh from SDO TV, your teacher companion in your adventure to this exciting world of English. Have a great day and #keep learning.